welcome to Universal Interiors. I'm Lez Engelstad, here today with my friend Winnie Gillespie. We have just been on a conversation, just learning a wee bit about her and how she had met her husband. So that is where we're going to kind of pick off. Not necessarily even met, but kind of knew one more step closer that he would be for you for life. Mm-hmm. So you got a chance to see him kind of to the rescue at one time, right?
And he told us, just leave the car there. We'll come and get the car and take it to the shop. And I had a motorcycle.
Yes.
So I went and got
I have a motorcycle.
And I, back in those days, girls who rode motorcycles,
How many even were there?
Well, there weren't a lot,
No.
but usually if you had a motorcycle, you belonged to a gang.
Really?
Yeah. And I was a loner. I did not ride with anybody.
Yeah.
And so you always got this, you ride a motorcycle, huh? sort of thing.
Oh.
But I didn't care what other people thought about me riding a motorcycle.
Right.
It was cheap.
Yeah.
I got to go like the wind.
Yes.
And I loved that. It's the next thing to flying for me.
Absolutely.
And I really liked it.
And what year in your life did you learn to ride your motorcycle? How old were you? Forgive me.
I suppose I was 16.
16, okay. Yeah.
But my mom and dad courted on a motorcycle with a sidecar.
Oh,
so the motorcycle was acceptable in our family as a means of travel. And so my dad was very proud of me that I could do this.
Sounds like it.
It was a big Harley. And
get out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway.
That's amazing. So how long after that last incident did it take till y'all knew that you were for each other for life? How long did you court, so to say?
Well, we didn't really court.
Oh, stayed friends.
Because I was working in Fargo, and he was up in northern North Dakota.
Okay.
And he was adopted, and he was adopted by people who would have been like my grandpa and grandma.
Oh, okay.
So they were older people.
Okay.
And so he was an only child. And when he drove me, excuse me, he drove me home from North Dakota where I was because my car was broken.
Sure.
And I picked up my cycle here. Anyway, when he drove me home, it was late afternoon when we got here. And there's a little story with that. There's just so many stories with this.
I'm sure there is.
And I came in, and we were farmers. I mean, we farmed, and we lived off of the farm. And guns were a common thing in our home. And my mom said when she saw that I had my friend with me that she was going to make supper for him before he left. And that was always our policy. Someone traveling, then you make a meal for them, so they can travel home again. Anyway, she said, "Winnie, take the gun and go get a chicken." And I went inside. Mom, he's never going to like me.
Or you have a newfound respect.
Women would know the feeling.
Yeah, they probably did. It's like, that's not what they're looking for.
But what he said was, "I'll help you." And just the things that were keys to me. Yes. And thoughtfulness. He was thinking outside the box.
Sure.
He wasn't just thinking of how he looked to the family or anything like that. He was thinking about being helpful. And I said, "No, it's okay. I can do this on my own." And but we did go out, and then when we came in, he said, "I won't be able to stay for supper. I have to be home before 10:30 because my folks will worry about me if I stay later." And that I thought the respect for his parents. Yeah. And God was pointing out all the wonderful things in this person.
Attributes, absolutely.
And it was just heartwarming, you know, to hear him.
Very much.
Because he was like a brother, but I had different interests in him than the brother.
And then this
Yeah.
Then this spark happened.
Anyway,
Oh,
so that's kind of when we
beautiful.
started dating, but the only time he could come was on weekends.
Sure.
And it was
So
just
far
for the
away.
day. He'd come and be there by noon, and by 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And we had all my little brothers and sisters with me, which was 5.
Okay.
5 little kids in the back seat and us in the front seat.
Yay.
And one night we went to a store because we needed some bologna for sandwiches, and Mom asked me to run over there, and so he took me over there, and he had a ring.
Oh.
And
That's how it happened.
yeah.
Oh,
And when he got
Bernice.
his call to go into the service, it was just after that he had the ring along.
Oh.
And we had been visiting the pastor, and when he found out that Alan had a ring,
Okay.
he said to us, he said, "Why don't you kids get married earlier?" We wanted a June wedding, and he said, "Because you guys are ready for marriage. You're mature in how you think and
That's
how you
good
treat each
counsel.
other." And I was really happy.
Yeah.
So we were married just after just before my birthday.
Okay. Did you say September?
No, February.
Oh, February.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, that I guess I can go back to when my husband to be left that day, after he said he had to go home rather than stay for supper. He didn't even have the door of the kitchen shut, and my dad said, "You marry that man and you'll never make a mistake."
Oh.
I mean, he pointed right at me. There was never anybody good enough for me before that.
Wow, Winnie, that is
And
really
he fell-
great.
He was closer to my husband probably than his own boys.
Wow.
He really loved my husband, and it was
Well, it sounds like his heart, your husband's heart, was just so huge and just knew. I mean, it just came out of him in every area. It kind of turned, and your dad saw that
yeah.
so quickly.
Yeah.
So, how long were you married then? You
He passed away, and we were almost 62 years.
62.
Yeah.
So I know you did lose your man. So
Yeah.
after 7 children.
Uh-huh.
Oof. Okay, he had to share you, and you had to share him.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, we got married in February, and I drove down there in August to be with him.
Okay.
So that was kind of like our honeymoon. And then in February, he got on the plane, in Fargo, which was our anniversary.
Okay.
2 days later, our first daughter was born, and he was getting on the ship.
Oh.
And the next day was my birthday.
And he was gone. He was already in the service.
He was gone. I was alone with the child, and our first year of marriage was done.
So, I would say that's pretty packed.
Yeah.
Pretty packed. And to think that you started life with your baby girl, kind of, or girl or son?
Yeah.
Girl, yep. Without your man. That's, I know, happened to so many people at that time in life. And the sacrifices that we still, I don't think, quite grasp that was given for our country. It's a hard time to really swallow that one.
You don't, I mean,
You didn't think about
we
it.
weren't thinking of that
No.
as a sacrifice.
No.
We were sad,
Sure.
but it was something we had to do
Just
because
part to
he was
do.
an only son.
Oh, that's
and,
right. You were
and
saying
the people he worked for the county,
that. Okay.
and they told
They
him,
knew
they
the
said,
right
"We
thing."
can get you out of this." And I know his dad would have been very happy if
Sure,
he
of
chose
course.
not to.
Of course.
But
And just right there, right, he chose. And life is so full of choices, and it continues to build and show all who we impact. It just never stops. So it's a life, choices, it hinges life's destiny just really does hinge on that.
But when you have the Lord helping you with your choices and making you
yes.
happy that you're doing them,
That's right. That's right.
then it's easier. It's just so much easier.
We are going to have to say goodbye to Winnie right now because we've just finished up our time. And again, thank you so much. I hope you've been cherishing these times as I have. Have a beautiful, terrifically thankful day today, okay? Thanks again. See you next time.